Hi, this is Wes with Just Camp On. Today, RV 101, we're talking water systems. Alright, we're going to discuss water systems on the RV today, travel trailer hookups. We're just doing basic, elementary water systems for hooking up your travel trailer. This is just newbies, beginner, what are my water systems? I see a lot of people asking questions about it, and so let's go over it real quick. First of all, the hose. We have a white hose as opposed to your green or black garden hose. They obviously work exactly the same. It's just a matter of the white hoses are approved for drinking water. There's no chemicals inside the white hose that'll leach off in your drinking water of any sort. So the white hose is the one you should use when you're RVing. You'll see that at the campgrounds, everybody has a white hose. Same as a green hose. I don't know about you, I drank plenty of times out of the green hose growing up, but it obviously didn't kill me. But the white hose is better. The chemicals inside won't hurt you in any way, and so you're safe drinking from a white hose. That's drinking water. There's two hookups on the camper. This one is for your city water hookup, and by city water we mean campground. The pole that's at the campground where the water comes out of. This is where you fill it up. If I hook it up to my house, this is where I hook it up. If I have running water to my camper, this is the one I use. Right down here, this one is for the water tank. On my camper, it's located right next to my electric. This is for your water tank. And so if you don't have water to where your camper is, if there's no running water to your site, this is the one you need to use. This is where you fill up your tank. If you have city water, you don't need to use your tank. And again, that's just basic RV use here, but I want to make sure you understand. I'm in the state of Pennsylvania, and in Pennsylvania, most of our state parks do not have running water to your site. You have electric to your site, but not running water. That way the campground at the state park doesn't have to go around and turn off the water systems in the winter time, so it's not going to freeze. And so they just don't. They have water as soon as you pull into the campground. There's different water spigots around the campground, but not to your site. So when you pull in, you have to fill up here. So let me show you this one first. This cap comes off. Your hose does not attach to this on purpose. You can usually stick it in there. You know what I mean? It just loosely fits. You can stick it in there so you can fill up. But they don't have it attached. That's so you don't hurt your camper, so you don't overfill it. Air's coming out while water's going in here. And so you need to be able to, they want to make sure you stand here and watch it. They don't want you overfilling it. Let's look at a tank. We'll go underneath the camper here for a second. Okay, under the camper here, if you see, right there is your water tank. This is a toy hauler camper, so it has a 100-gallon tank. That's larger than most travel trailers, but it holds 100 gallons of water. So, quick word on your water tank. You don't want to fill your water tank at home and drive all the way to the campground, or else, what they say, 8 pounds per gallon of water. So a 100-gallon tank, that would be 800 gallons hanging underneath here. I've heard reports of some people who have so much weight hanging on there. Some of these metal brackets that hold the tank, the welds break and the tank will fall out. You just don't want to travel with that much. Fill up as close as you can to your campsite. Then you have this is how you drain the tank. When you're done, before you leave the campground, or when you want to winterize, or anytime you're done with the water in the tank, you can drain the water in the tank by simply turning this on and letting the water drain out. You'll see a lot of people leaving a campground with water trickling behind them. That's because it's coming out of this drain from their water tank. This, your city water hookup, we talked about that. One thing you have to have, this is a pressure regulator for your water. That's because the water pressure at the campground is going to be all over the place, and often the water pressure is too high, and so you have to attach this to your camper first to make sure you keep the water pressure where it needs to be. The water lines in a camper are obviously usually plastic tubing, PVC, or PEX, something like that. And so you don't want to blow your lines out by having too much water pressure. And so your water hose then attaches to your regulator and to the camper as such. And you can leave this on, you leave this running while you're hooked up, and the water in your RV will just come from this. Inside the camper, we'll look at two things. This is your switch for your water pump. And so you turn the water pump on, and that puts pressure in the system. So if you have water in your tank, you turn on the water pump. After the tank's full and you're set up, you turn on the water pump, and that'll put pressure under the system so you can turn on your sink and have water. You can leave the water pump on, but just a thought, just a word of warning, I think we often find that the water pumps will lose pressure a little bit and will kick on and reprime every hour or two, which is kind of a pain while you're sleeping. So you may want to turn it off at night, turn it back on the next morning. Again, if you're hooked up to city water, you don't need your pump. You'll probably often go whole seasons without your pump. Let's look inside the cabinet here. If you look in the cabinet, you can see the water pump. There it is right there. I'm going to kick the switch on for a second so you can hear it. That just draws water out. As soon as it primes up, as soon as there's enough water pressure, that motor cuts off. And you can just leave that on while you're camping. Again, you might want to turn it off overnight so it doesn't reprime every hour while you're sleeping.